Many people walk into Home Depot with a very common mistake that they don't even realize they've made. They choose wood in the simplest way, whichever is straight, which is cheap, and which looks good, but what few people know is that there are tiny markings on the wooden beam that can determine whether your project succeeds or fails completely. Professionals understand this very well. When they choose wood at Home Depot, they're not just looking at the surface, they looked at the grain of the wood, the curvature, how the wooden planks reacted to light, and even details that beginners often overlook. Simply choosing the wrong piece of wood can cost you hours of editing or even require discarding the entire piece and starting over. In this video, I'll share the secrets of wood selection that professional craftsmen always know, but newcomers have almost never heard of. And once you know these things, the way you choose wood will change completely. Let's begin. There's a pretty mind-blown moment when you start serious woodworking. That's when you discover a 2x4 bar isn't actually 2 inches by 4 inches. Sounds like a joke, right? But if you take out a ruler and measure right here at Home Depot, you'll find the truth quite surprising. A 2x4 bar is typically only about 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. That means each dimension has disappeared by almost half an inch. To put it into perspective, if you're designing a 24-inch wide table based on 6 2x4 bars placed side by side, you might be missing almost 3 inches from the drawing, almost the length of a phone. And that's when many people start wondering, wait, was the wood I bought cut short? Actually, that's not the case. In the wood industry, sizes such as 2x4, 2x6, or 4x4 are called nominal size. That is the nominal size. Initially, when the wood was first sawn from the tree trunk, it was indeed close to that size. But after the wood is dried, planed, and surface treated, each edge will be slightly smaller to create a more beautiful and uniform surface. And as a result, the number on the label is no longer the actual size. Interestingly, professionals know this almost instinctively. They rarely believe the numbers on the shelf. They either quickly remeasured with a ruler or simply became familiar with the actual dimensions of each type of wood. Newcomers usually only discover this when the project is almost complete. Actually, this isn't a trap set by Home Depot or the lumber industry. It's just a convention that's been around for over 100 years in the construction industry. But if you don't know beforehand, it can cause your drawing to be off by a few centimeters for no apparent reason. So if there's one little habit a professional always makes when choosing wood, it's this: never completely trust the dimensions written on the wooden plank. And believe me, this is just the first secret. There's another thing that professional lumberjacks always check when standing in front of a pile of wood at Home Depot, and newcomers almost never notice. We'll talk about it shortly. If you enjoy these little but project-saving woodworking tips, you might consider subscribing to the channel so that the next time you walk into Home Depot, you'll see the lumber area in a completely different light. If you stand in the lumber area of Home Depot for a few minutes, you might see this scene. Newcomers often step over, look at a few wooden planks, see that the color is stable, the surface is quite beautiful, and then put them in the car. What about experienced carpenters? They picked up the wooden stick, raised it to eye level, and looked along its length as if they were aiming at a gun barrel. When people first see this scene, they think, wow, what are they doing? But actually, they're checking something extremely important: the straightness of the wood. Because the truth is, the wood at Home Depot isn't always perfect. During transportation, drying, and storage, quite a few bars will bend to some degree. Professionals typically perform a quick check of 4 common curvature patterns: bow, curved lengthwise like a bow; cup, a concave surface like a spoon; twist, a slight twist along the length of the wooden body; warp, overall warp. The kind of thing that looks like something is wrong. It sounds technical, but it actually looks very simple. Simply raise the wooden stick to eye level and look along the edge. If you see a straight line running smoothly like the horizon, that's fine. But if it's wavy like a village road after the rain, then the shelf should be put back on. The funny thing is, many people are only just looking at the surface of wood. They found the wooden planks to be light in color with few knots, and they looked nice, and thought that was a good thing. But the expert knows a single bent piece of wood can ruin an entire project. A simple example: if you make a table about 1.2 meters long with curved wooden slats, only about 3 to 4 millimeters, when you join many slats together, the deviation can be as much as 1 centimeter. At that point, the tabletop won't be flat, the joints won't fit together properly, and you'll have to spend hours planning, scrubbing, and adjusting. To put it jokingly, choosing the right piece of wood right from the store can save you an entire afternoon of struggling in the workshop. And if you look closely, you'll see that the professional often flips quite a few wooden planks before choosing one that suits you. This is perfectly normal. Even at stores like Home Depot or Lowe's, they're used to it. But the straightness of the wood isn't the only thing a professional looks at. Actually, there's something else on the wooden beam that they always pay attention to before buying, and that directly affects the durability and aesthetics of the project. We'll talk about it right in the next section. There's something quite interesting that many newcomers often overlook when entering the log section at Home Depot. All the wooden planks look the same, but in reality, they're not the same at all. From a distance, you'll see an entire row of 2x4, 1x6, or 1x8 stacked on top of each other. The price difference isn't too much either. The wood color is quite similar, and so many people chose the option whichever bar is on top looks good, and then take it. But if you stand next to a seasoned carpenter, you'll see they choose very differently. They usually look at the type of wood and the grade before looking at the price. There are usually a few popular groups at Home Depot, such as framing lumber, a type commonly used in building house frames. Common board, common wood, soft priced. Select pine, a more selective type with fewer defects. And here's the rather surprising part. Two wooden planks that look almost identical can have very different qualities. A simple example, framing lumber is often produced quickly for construction purposes, so it can have many knots, uneven grain, and sometimes quite high moisture content. That's perfectly fine if it's located behind a drywall in a house, but if you use it as a decorative countertop or shelf, those imperfections can become very noticeable. Meanwhile, select pine is usually more carefully selected, less knots, a nicer grain, and greater stability. The price might be a little higher sometimes, only a few dollars more per bar, but the finished product is usually noticeably different. To put it into perspective, choosing framing lumber for a table is like wearing a coat to a party, not wrong, but clearly not the ideal choice. What professional craftsmen understand very well is that not every project needs the best wood, but every project needs the right type of wood. They know when to save money on framing wood and when to spend a few extra dollars on a nicer wood. And when you start looking at the lumber area this way, you'll realize Home Depot is actually more like a wooden buffet. There are more options than you think, but good quality wood alone isn't enough. There's another factor that professionals always pay attention to before bringing wood back to the workshop. And it's directly related to the moisture content of the wood. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. If you find these kinds of little secrets a little easier to breathe, woodworking, you might consider subscribing to the channel. It's not mandatory, but the following videos might help you avoid a few more costly mistakes. This is something many carpenters discover, but only after they've brought the wood home. When you're standing in Home Depot, everything looks fine. The wooden beam is quite straight, the wood color is nice, and the surface looks clean. You take it back to the workshop cut and assemble it into a table or a shelf. A few days later, I turned back and looked, and suddenly noticed the wooden surface was slightly curved, or the joint opens a little. At that time, many people thought, did I cut it wrong? Actually, sometimes it's not your fault. One fairly common reason is that the wood at Home Depot is often not completely dry. Many wooden planks are produced and shipped quite quickly for construction purposes. The moisture content in wood can sometimes remain quite high when it's sitting on a shelf. This is perfectly fine if the wood is used for house frames or building structures. But with furniture or DIY projects in the home, the story is different. When you bring wood from the store to the workshop, the environment changes. Different temperature, different humidity, and the wood begins to shrink or shift slightly. It may sound small, but imagine this. A wooden beam about 1.2 meters long, if it shrinks by only 1 to 2 millimeters, sounds insignificant. But if you combine 5 to 6 bars to make a tabletop, the total deviation can be nearly 1 centimeter. And so the tabletop started to have gaps or be slightly warped. That's why professional tradespeople usually do something very simple. After buying the wood, they didn't make it right away. They leave the wood in the workshop for a few days so that it can acclimate to the environment. In this trade, it's called acclimate. Just 2 to 3 days can sometimes help stabilize wood a lot. For a slightly more humorous comparison, bringing wood from the store and making it right away is like putting on a pair of brand new shoes to run a marathon. It won't always break, but there's a high chance something will happen. Interestingly, large lumber shops like professional lumber yards sometimes have better humidity control. But even there, seasoned workers still have a habit of letting the wood rest for a few days before working. It's one of those little habits that beginners rarely think about, but almost everyone who works as a carpenter knows about it. And speaking of buying wood, there's another rather interesting secret: professionals rarely buy the exact amount of wood they need. That sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? We'll talk about that in the next section. If these little but project-saving tips are helpful to you, you might consider subscribing to the channel. It's not urgent, but the following videos might help you avoid a few more mistakes that can waste wood. There's a rather interesting habit that if you stand and observe for a long time in the lumber section of Home Depot, you'll notice carpenters almost never buy the exact amount of wood they need. That sounds a bit wasteful, doesn't it? But in reality, it's one of the most practical money-saving secrets. Beginners usually calculate things very accurately. For example, if a project requires 6 wooden planks, they buy exactly 6 planks. That sounds very reasonable, but experienced carpenters will usually buy about 20 to 30% more than they need. That means if the project needs 6 bars, they can buy 7 or 8 bars. The reason is very simple. When you start working with wood, there are always a few things that are hard to avoid. A piece of wood with bad knots, right where it needs cutting, a piece that bends slightly when joined, or simply cutting the wrong piece once. This happens to everyone. This includes even those who have been woodworking for many years. And then if you don't have a spare wooden plank, you'll have to go back to Home Depot to buy more. It doesn't sound too serious, but if you've ever encountered it, you'll know how unpleasant that feeling can be, especially when the project is still in progress. Not to mention something rather funny, sometimes when I go back to the store, the batch of wood is already different. The wood color may differ, the grain may differ, and even the thickness may be slightly different. And so your countertop or shelf naturally has a bar that looks out of place. Compared to that, buying a few extra planks of wood initially is usually much cheaper. If you convert it simply, a spare piece of wood can sometimes cost as much as a cup of coffee, but it can save your entire workday. Professionals understand this, so they often consider leftover wood as insurance for their projects. If you don't use them all, those bars can still be used for a later project. In a carpenter's workshop, having a few leftover pieces of wood lying in the corner is almost perfectly normal, but when choosing wood, there's another thing that professionals always look at before putting it in the car. That's the wood grain. It sounds simple, but it greatly affects whether the final product looks good or looks like a rushed DIY project. When you stand next to a seasoned carpenter in the lumber area, you'll see them pick up a piece of wood, look back and forth, spin it a few times, then put it down again. Newcomers often think they're checking if the wood is bent, but sometimes they're looking at something completely different. That's wood grain. If you look closely, each piece of wood has veins running along its length. There are strips of fiber running straight like a highway. There's a wavy bar that looks like a weather map. For beginners, these lines are just patterns, but for a professional, it's almost a map of the wooden plank's character. Wood grain affects 3 very important things: the durability, stability, and beauty of the final product. Here's a simple example. If you make a table from many pieces of wood joined together, and each piece has a grain running in a different direction after painting or oiling the surface, might look a little messy. It's like each bar is telling its own story. When woodcutters specialize in selecting wood, they usually try to find planks with similar grain. When joined together, the ridges will run continuously like a stream, and naturally the table looked much more expensive, even though the material was still the same type of wood you buy at Home Depot. It's like putting together many pieces of the same picture. If assembled in the right direction, the picture will be seamless. If you put it together haphazardly, you still have enough pieces, but overall it looks a bit wrong. In addition, the grain of the wood also affects whether it bends easily over time. Straight-grained bars are generally more stable than bars with twisted or overly complex grain patterns. Interestingly, beginners often only look at the front of the wooden plank. As for the professional, they usually turn the plank over looking at both the edge and the end because that's where you can see the direction of the wood grain most clearly. It's a small detail, but it's what makes the final product look completely different. And before leaving Home Depot with the pile of wood in the car, there's something very ordinary that many newcomers forget. It's not about woodworking techniques, it's about your car. We'll talk about that in the next section. A very real moment that quite a few people have encountered when buying wood at Home Depot. You've chosen the wood, every bar is beautiful. The shopping cart is full, you pay, push it to the parking lot, and then suddenly realize something quite awkward. The wooden beam is longer than your car. It sounds funny, but this happens more often than you think. Many of the wooden planks at Home Depot are 10 feet long or about 3 meters. Meanwhile, the cargo area of a popular SUV, when the seats are folded down, is typically only about 8 feet or approximately 2.4 meters. That means your wooden plank is almost half a meter longer than the car, almost the length of a guitar. And so began some rather familiar scenes at the Home Depot parking lot: people tying wooden planks to the roof of their cars with temporary ropes, people leaving wooden planks sticking out the back and hanging red towels, or worse, trying to stuff them into the car and closing the doors for good luck. Longtime carpenters almost never find themselves in this situation. It's not because they have bigger trucks, although many people do, but that's because they thought about this even before buying the wood. There are usually 2 very simple ways. Method 1, they measure the space inside the car beforehand. Knowing your maximum carrying capacity can avoid many awkward situations. The second method, they asked Home Depot to cut the wood right in the store. Most shops have a basic wood cutting area, and just a few simple cuts are enough to make the wood fit much better in the car. It may sound like a small detail, but this is the kind of detail beginners often forget until they stand in the parking lot and see the wooden beam longer than their car. To put it jokingly, your first woodworking project isn't sometimes the table in the workshop, but the way you bring the wood home. And when you start paying attention to small details like these, you'll realize that buying wood at Home Depot also has its own strategy. If you look back, you'll see there's a rather interesting point. Professional tradespeople don't necessarily know more complicated things than beginners. They simply notice details that newcomers often overlook. And when standing in front of a whole row of logs at Home Depot, they almost always remember a few very basic things. First, the dimensions printed on the wood are not the actual dimensions. A 2x4 bar is actually only about 1.5 by 3.5 inches. Without knowing this, your drawing might be off by a few centimeters for no apparent reason. Secondly, always check the straightness of the wood. Just one curved bar a few millimeters long when you join multiple bars together can cause the tabletop to be off by almost 1 centimeter, enough to require adjustments for an entire session. Third, understand the type of wood you are buying. Framing lumber, common board, or select pine may look similar, but their quality and intended use are quite different. Fourth, let the wood rest for a few days before making it. The wood you just brought back from the store is like someone who's just been on a long plane. It needs some time to settle down. Thursday, buy some leftover wood. Just a few extra bars are enough to save you from a trip back to Home Depot halfway through. Friday, pay attention to the wood grain. Those tiny patterns are what make a table look ordinary, or like real furniture. And finally, don't forget your car. It sounds simple, but it's these small details that make all the difference. The same pile of wood at Home Depot, but the choices made by professionals and beginners can lead to two completely different results. At the end of the video, I'll share another interesting fact why in the same DIY project, some people look very good after finishing it, while others look a bit homemade. If there's one interesting takeaway from all we've just discussed, it's this: the difference between a beginner and a professional isn't in the expensive tools, but in how they view a piece of wood. Standing together on a wooden shelf at Home Depot, newcomers often only see the price and the color. Meanwhile, seasoned woodworkers see the straightness, grain, moisture content, and even how the wood will behave in the coming weeks. Those small details may sound insignificant, but they are what determine whether your project looks professional or just a rushed DIY project. I'm also very curious, have you ever had an accident while buying wood at Home Depot? For example, does the wood bend, shrink after being made, or simply find out after you've bought it? It doesn't fit the car. Please share in the comments. Those real-life stories often help the community learn a lot of interesting things. If you enjoy the kind of tips that new professionals notice, like in this video, you might consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss the next videos on woodworking DIY and how to choose smarter materials. And a small note, the information shared in this video is based primarily on real-world experience and personal observation and is not an official technical standard. Every shop, every timber lot, and every project can be different, so always check the materials and choose what suits your needs. Hopefully, the next time you walk into the lumber section of Home Depot, you'll see those wooden planks through a completely different lens. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next videos.